Today we are drafting a new team in real time. Last video I did a review of a team that I already put together. On this one, we're doing the whole draft on video, instant analysis of how we're doing. Gonna try to get a better team than we did. Here's what we're doing. We're doing 12-person draft, no tournament, just regular 12-team league, 30-second pick clock. Here's your lineup. You got 1 QB, 3 receiver. We're going to weigh more heavily towards the receivers. You're going to see that if you haven't done Underdog before. $3. Just $3. Hopping in here. This is only the second draft I've done this summer. Still practicing. We're going to level up a little bit as we go. But for right now, we're just jumping in on the low stakes 12 teams. We'll get to a tournament draft. Maybe I'll do a stream for that. Get everybody in on it. Do a couple practice rounds. Get the tournament going. Waiting on 2 people. So, what we learned from our team, if you haven't seen the review video, you gotta get your stacks in. You want a good QB, but you gotta get the stack. I got Josh Allen, didn't get Stephon Diggs. Took forever to finally get a stack because it's really Stephon Diggs or nothing with that team. You want your running QBs that are gonna score rushing touchdowns. Another thing in the rules, your rushing touchdowns, 6 points like usual. Your passing touchdowns, 4 points. Slightly devalued. So, anybody who's putting in rushing touchdowns, gonna be more valuable. That is Josh Allen. I did right picking him up, but you gotta get that Stephon Diggs stack. Which, in my case, if you didn't see the review, that's one where I panicked on my 30-second clock. I didn't quite get the pick in, auto-drafted Josh Allen. That'll happen. When you're a rookie, when you're knocking the rust off in the summer, that's gonna happen. But what's interesting here, we have ultimate redemption scenario. Our first draft, we were at the 105. Look where we are now. We're at the 105 again. Lindiana Jones, 105. Now what I did at 105 was I took A.J. Brown. Receivers are going heavy in the top of these drafts. You see, we're going to start Justin Jefferson. Probably going to go Jamar Chase. Probably going to go Tyreek Hill, Cooper Kupp. What I want to do differently for this is go Christian McCaffrey, if I can. Because if they're going to leave me the highest ADP running back at number 5, I'm going to take it. But we see CMC get snatched up. So I'm going to get Tyreek or Cooper Kupp. Both of which very easy to stack. Something you want to do in Underdog in best ball is get these stacks. So when your best receiver scores, your QB scores. You want the double touchdown. And we're going to be able to get that because Matthew Stafford goes incredibly late. Tua actually goes later than you would expect. Now, I'm more of a super flex guy. So QBs are always going super early. So I'm not as used to it anymore as when it's just 1 QB. 1 QB, 2 is going pretty late for this kind of format where you need kind of a stable of QBs. If you don't get the top tier, you kind of want 2 to 3 that can really contribute week to week. And Tua, for how he started before the concussions, he was top 5 QB in the league, putting up 40-point games, 30-point games with ease. So, he still got Tyreek, he still got Jalen Waddle. Dalvin Cook's trying to get there, he still got the coach, draws everything up for him. So, I'm looking at getting Tua in some of these drafts. Now, this one in particular, I definitely want Matt Stafford, because we got Cooper Kupp, and it's just the ideal thing to do. That's a dynamic duo where you got Matt Stafford only throwing to Cooper Kupp, really. So, another thing we'll look at later for tight end, try to get Tyler Higbee. Now, I would like to get a tight end before Tyler Higbee, but you definitely want Higbee as a stack for Stafford. And honestly, along the same lines as Higbee, I want a QB before Matt Stafford. But there's so much opportunity to get QBs later. 8th round even, you're getting Trevor Lawrence back there, Deshaun Watson back there. Okay, I'm coming up. 4 more picks. We got Waddle, JT, Saquon, Olave, Devontae Smith. Now, really good looking running back right here, Tony Pollard. I got Tony Pollard before in my other draft at this exact same spot. So we're looking at very easily picking Tony Pollard here. Waddle goes off the board, Barkley goes off the board. I would imagine one of these two guys takes JT. If for some reason they don't, I'm scooping up JT. It's too easy. They just make it too easy on me. They take Olave, they take Pollard. I'm taking JT every time. I don't care. At this point, I'll take JT. He's got a rookie QB, but I'm just gonna take him if he drops to me this far. Late in the second round, usually a 17 ADP. I get him at pick 20. I will take the slight drop for JT. 100%. Now, the problem with JT is he's attached to a rookie QB in Anthony Richardson's. Stats have proven everyone kind of suffered a little bit with the rookie QBs. I'm banking on Shane Steichen, the new head coach, being able to put him in good situations the same way he did with Miles Sanders. JT, I take every single day of the week talent-wise over Miles Sanders. I assume Shane Steichen can open things up for him, make him a bit more to his own averages. JT can do well with Matt Ryan, with a different coach. I assume Steichen can figure out how to use him as well. So, what are we looking at? We're looking at pick number 29, whose ADP is about 29. We're looking at kind of a Mark Andrews, Breece Hall, Calvin Ridley, DK Metcalf, somewhere in there. I will take any of them. As you are seeing, the impact of 3 wide receiver starting lineup is pushing a lot of the receivers up. So I'm developing a choice. I'm getting a choice between some running backs that in the past would be much higher. JT would be much higher. Josh Jacobs would be much higher in previous years. But the emphasis is on these receivers right now. And we're getting some ADP showing Mahomes and Hurts usually go. There goes Mahomes. 5 picks later than he usually goes. Hurts. Kind of the same thing. 5 picks later than he usually goes. Now we're coming up on me next. We can get Josh Jacobs. We can get Mark Andrews. What's my pick? How far away is my pick? Now, if I take Andrews, I'm not getting Lamar. But Andrews is a really good tight end. And in this new offense, I think I might want him. I want to have an advantage at tight end. So I'm taking him. I'm taking Mark Andrews. But having Breece Hall and Josh Jacobs here would not fault you one bit if you took these guys. Having Amari Cooper here, you can stack him with Deshaun Watson later on very easily. Very easily stack him later on. Now, it's very unlikely Lamar gets back to us. ADP for him is usually 34 or 35. My next pick is 44. He would have to drop pretty far to get that. But having Mark Andrews in a Todd Monken offense, almost too good to pass up, you know? He's very reliable, even in those old offenses where they're running all the time. This is anticipated to be a more up-tempo, faster-paced offense. So, I only assume Mark Andrews can benefit from this. Lamar Jackson goes off the board. That's okay. We can figure out, like, I will take having this start of JT, Cooper Kupp, Mark Andrews. There's a lot where it starts. I'm kind of already liking it better than our first draft where it was A.J. Brown, Tony Pollard, Josh Allen. We're going to be able to get some quality QBs here. See, Deshaun Watson, QB9 off the board in about 7th round. Tua back here. We don't even have Matt Stafford on the board. That's just going to be a nice stack for Cooper Kupp later on. But we're going to find somebody that we can match up with. And we've got our first receiver. We've got a stud tight end. We've got a stud running back. So we're coming up 44. Again, 44. We're looking at about a Terry McLaurin, Joe Burrow, somewhere in there. If Amari Cooper gets to us, would love to have Amari Cooper. Terry McLaurin, easily stackable with Sam Howell. I would take a Christian Watson. He can take any play to the house. Easily stackable with Jordan Love as well. We did pick Mike Williams last time and stack with Justin Herbert. I just didn't before because we already had Josh Allen. So, Justin Fields goes. I need to consider the rushing factor. We're kind of past that, really. The top tier rushing QBs have gone off the board. Trevor Lawrence gets sneaky rushing TDs, but he's not really on the table right now. You have to scroll pretty far to find Trevor Lawrence. Can be stacked with Christian Kirk at this point. Something to keep in mind. Mari Cooper still on the board. Would love to have him. Jerry Jeudy goes off. We do not want Debo right now. Brandon Ayuk would be much better to have. Yes, we're looking at Amari. We're looking at we got Christian Kirk here. We got Brandon Ayuk here. Debo goes off the board. I would take Amari. Oh, Amari goes off right before. You got Terry, you got Mike Williams, you got Christian Kirk, Joe Mixon, Brandon Ayuk. I'm feeling pretty good about Brandon Ayuk. Very stackable with Brock Purdy. I'm not seeing any high, like Joe Burrow would be nice, but we can't stack much with Joe Burrow. I'm not seeing what we can stack with Joe, and I want to play towards the stack, so we're going with Brandon Ayuk. Great offense, great coach. We don't have any other San Frans on the team. I believe in the offense that Ayuk operates in. He was doing very well at the end of the season. Something I want to talk about in a different video is Ayuk versus Debo. How Ayuk should be going ahead of Debo based on how they performed last year and previous years. Ayuk can get it done, is what I want to point out. Now, our next pick, let's prepare a little bit. 53. Someone who's around there. Hawkinson. Don't need Hawkinson right now. We have Andrews. Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert, we might just need to grab. We might just need to grab Justin Herbert and then look ahead to getting Quentin Johnston. Herbert's a very good quarterback. Trevor Lawrence. Just see what we got. Mike Williams. I don't really want to rely on Mike Williams, you know? Ken Walker could be sneaky good. Chris Godwin, very good. Who are we looking at? Mike Williams off the board. Justin Herbert could be pretty solid right here. You anticipate some pushing the ball down the field more with Kellen Moore, better offense. Justin Herbert may be the pick here. Chris Godwin goes off the board. I think that's what we're going to go with. Justin Herbert ahead of Joe Burrow. Because I am able to later stack Justin Herbert with Quentin Johnston and Gerald Everett. Joe Burrow, I don't really have anybody left to stack him with except for Tyler Boyd. So Justin Herbert goes off ahead of him for my team. That's what we're playing to. Keep note that we're playing toward a stack later of Quentin Johnston and Gerald Everett. Quentin Johnston, where does he come off the board? About 79 is where he comes out. Behind Jordan Addison, behind Jackson Smith and Jigba. 79. Our next pick is 68. And then 77. So 2 picks away is where Quentin Johnston's ADP usually is. So after Justin Herbert, we get Ken Walker off the board, Joe Burrow, TJ Hockenson. Ken Walker, I saw something recently where Pete Carroll and the Seahawks normally use one running back. You've seen duos with them before, but it usually turns out where one gets hurt, one gets outplayed, and it's always one guy. Very Mike Tomlin, James Conner, Najee Harris, Le'Veon Bell style of coaching where you get one guy. So if Ken Walker can kind of take on the role that he still had last year with the threat of Zach Charbonnet, ahead of the season, that could be a guy who really pops off for you and is a huge value. Um, so that's something to kind of look more into if you're kind of scared, unsure of Ken Walker, ambiguous backfield, not really sure what's going on with him. Charbonnet got drafted high. Look into it a little bit. See what you think. Something a little extra to think about that I saw. Okay, we got somebody coming up. ADP 68. What are we looking at? J.K. Dobbins is falling a little bit. What else at 68? Treylon Burks could be good. Jordan Addison. Burks is the only guy in town. So that is an option. We got Kupp, Ayuk. Burks is easily stackable as well. Ryan Tannehill. Miles Sanders. I mean, we're looking at needing a running back. Swift is an option. So, we're looking at Quentin Johnston. Swift is back there. Swift is an option 100%. Burks. This is tough. They take Deshaun Watson in front of us. So, I think what we do, we look at taking Treylon Burks for a little breakout. Having Quentin Johnston as your wide receiver 4 would be outstanding. If we don't get him, there are running backs around there that will work for us. But I think we go Treylon Burks here. Going to be wide open offense. He's ready to take that next step. Good as your wide receiver 3. He's not going to get crazy high target numbers, but if he can be efficient, turn a lot of his opportunities into into yards after the catch, he can make up for lack of a high-flying offense. It's not going to be a high-flying offense. That's not how Mike Vrabel operates with Ryan Tannehill and Derrick Henry in town. But if he can make the most of what he gets, that's a guy who can really help you as a wide receiver 3. Capable of making big plays. David Montgomery goes off. I do like David Montgomery. He takes on Jamal Williams' role. I assume the Detroit Lions offense, it gives him a lot of goal line opportunities. Easy touchdowns, easy spike weeks. Huge tight end run. Kittle, Pitts, Goddard in the 6th, 7th turn. Something to keep in mind for us later on. We've tried late tight end. Now early tight end, we need to try middle at some point. So Swift, Dotson go off the board, leaving us Quentin Johnston here, which I do want to take because of the Herbert stack. 100% want to take this. Later in the season, he has an opportunity to really take over that team, especially with an older Keenan Allen and an injury-prone Mike Williams. There is opportunity there as someone who can take over as the season progresses. That's usually what rookie wide receivers do. They pop off at the end of the year. So that's what I'm banking on with Quentin Johnston here. So let's recap the team a little bit. We got Justin Herbert at QB, JT is our running back, and 4 receivers, Cooper Kupp, Ayuk, Burks, and Quentin Johnston, followed by Mark Andrews at tight end. I'm really liking the team. Loving this team. We do need to pay attention to running back. We gotta start we gotta pay attention to this running back, really focus down on it. Wide receiver is feeling good. Tight end is feeling good. Very few weeks is Mark Andrews not going to be the guy who would score tight end for us. So pretty much just look for Gerald Everett because his bye doesn't match up with Mark Andrews' bye, and he'll stack with Justin Herbert. That's pretty much what we're looking at. We're set there. Just look for Gerald Everett. Look for Matt Stafford later on. Look for Tyler Higbee. If you don't get Gerald Everett, that's pretty much all there is to it. So, we got Dalvin Cook. Let's look. We got Javonte Williams, Zach Charbonnet, Antonio Gibson, Alvin Kamara. Alvin Kamara, kind of an easy pick. Your running backs can hold down the beginning of the season. Kamara gets suspended, maybe. I don't know how the legal system's going to work with that, but you pick him up for your stretch run, your playoffs, he can help you out. We got Pacheco, probably won't take him. Javonte, injury concern, I'd like to avoid it. Antonio Gibson, you don't really know how that's going to go. Zach Charbonnet, kind of interesting. I'm Kamara 103 ADP. It matches up 101. Majay P. Ryan kind of goes hand in hand with Kamara, but you're only really going to get one of them. So, but that's a good combo of P. Ryan's going to play early, Kamara's going to play late. So, what I think we do here, I don't really like the other guys more than Kamara. So, I disagree with ADP right here. I'm just going to take Kamara because we do need a running back. And a good combo here, based on ADP, would be Kamara benching early, plays late, and then Pirine is going to play early because of Javonte Williams' injury. So, Pirine, this guy gets it. This guy gets it. Samaje Pirine is going to handle the beginning work while Javonte gets back up to speed. Javonte takes over late, is the theory you work with here, or that I'm working with. So, that strategy got taken away from me. So, we need to figure out something else to do here. Who's a really good player that we're looking at? Antonio Gibson's a good player. More upside than, I guess, Brian Robinson, but the question is, like, is he a guy the coaches like? Is he going to be given playing time? Really? Is what we're wondering here. So who else has opportunity that can really turn into something big? I don't know. We're kind of getting to that point where it's like, I don't really know what these guys offer me. Cortland Sutton, maybe, if Sean Payton can unlock that offense. Russell Wilson is still available. I don't know if I really would go for that. It's a stackable option. Cortland Sutton is your wide receiver 4. History of Sean Payton would say try it. What we could do is just go for variants of Zach Charbonnet. Say Charbonnet takes over, Ken Walker either underperforms or gets hurt, and I think that might be a move. Just take Charbonnet. Because we are running back needy right now. I think we just take him. See how that goes. It doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt to try that out and see what happens. It's a variance kind of a game of just try to do something opposite. Try to do something different. And we're not in the range of needing to pick up Stafford or Purdy or Tannehill or anybody like that. Good on tight end, just hang out. It might be a 2 tight end build. So we're just looking at where we can be a little different now. So when's our next pick? Our next pick is at 116. So let's look at an ADP that's around 116. That'd be Damian Harris. That would be Rashad Penny. Devon A. Chain. Devon A. Chains is pretty murky because he could be dealing with up to 3 veterans on his team if they sign Dalvin Cook, along with Mostert, Jeff Wilson, all of them. Rashad Penny, he's on a good offense, but we don't know how they're going to use him versus Swift. Damian Harris, working alongside James Cook. Josh Allen takes a lot of goal line work. Damian Harris, though, maybe a decent option for some goal line opportunity. Brian Robinson, same kind of idea with Washington. If they get better, I mean, more touchdown opportunity for him. He gets 20-something opportunities a game. They're on the ground. They're not catches, but I don't think these guys are going to be getting a lot of catches either. So maybe a upgraded offense with Eric Bieniemy, Brian Robinson can get a little more work done, So he might be a target here. I don't know about Odell, Sky Moore. Sky's on a good team, but we've seen Mahomes just kind of spreads it around. If you're not Kelsey, you're not really guaranteed week to week, which isn't bad for best ball, but it's also like you got to have some spikes too. And I don't know how many spikes you're going to have. We're 1 pick away. I'm kind of eyeballing Brian Robinson here. I think that's the move. Jerick McKinnon could be a pretty good running back. Are there any other receivers here that we'd rather have over Brian Robinson as a running back? Which I don't know if there are. I really don't think there are. Um, so it turns out a team that started with just JT and four receivers has turned into something that's now even across the positions. So that can change pretty quick. We get Brian Robinson to hold down the fort till Alvin Kamara comes back. He's steady production, steady opportunity. Kamara comes back. It's Derek Carr, who gave Josh Jacobs the most receptions of his career last year, will happily throw to Alvin Kamara. And then a little wild card in Charbonnet. Could work out, could not. You never know. But you got to play that game when you're playing best ball. Let's see. Next pick is 125. So we're kind of looking at Darnell Mooney, take one to the house, Jerick McKinnon. Jerick McKinnon had quite the stretch last year where he was getting touchdown after touchdown, red zone opportunities, pass catching back. Jerick McKinnon goes off the board. I wish he didn't. That would have been nice. So that takes an option away from us. Yeah, back here the receivers get thin. So I think what we're really looking at here is Darnell Mooney with an improved Justin Fields. He can develop that chemistry and kind of come together for the perfect storm. So Darnell Mooney, deep ball to the house is kind of what we're hoping for at receiver 5 on your team. Okay, so our next pick, number 140, does not quite get to Matt Stafford's ADP of 152. We could honestly wait for Matt Stafford until 2 picks later. Based off his ADP 152, that pick would be 149. We should wait, get the max value out of him, and to have that Cooper Kupp stack. Because I would be perfectly fine with taking Brock Purdy or Ryan Tannehill. I don't mind, because when you got Justin Herbert, it's very likely you're using the Justin Herbert weeks just about every week. I don't mind that one single bit. Now, if we're looking at Gerald Everett, that's around the same time as Matt Stafford, Tyler Higbee, kind of the same thing. So it comes down to, who do we want as our tight end? Do we want Cooper Kupp? No. Do we want Higbee, or do we want Gerald Everett? Higbee's off the board, so we are looking at Gerald Everett. I would probably take Higbee over Everett, just because more consolidated of an offense, fewer high-level pass catchers in Higbee's offense. It's really just Kupp and Higbee, and then everyone's trying to figure out the other receiver. So I would take Higbee if I had the choice. I don't have the choice. Let's take Everett for a stack. Planning on using Herbert weeks a lot. Let's take Everett to back up Mark Andrews. That is the plan coming up here. Everett at 154. So it's pretty much, you take Stafford, you take Everett, is what this is looking like. Let's look again. We got Jamal Williams, Tank Bigsby, Algier Kmet. Yeah, I think we just take Stafford here, because they're bumped up right next to each other. Stafford and Everett. Let's take Stafford here. I think him and McVay coming back, they think they can do something together that's productive, they can compete. I don't think they would bring Matt Stafford back if they didn't think they could compete a little bit. So I think they're going to be motivated to have a better season than last year. Everybody was hurt. It was a perfect storm of all the injuries, and I think they're determined to come back to a better situation and have a better result than they did last year. So we have completed multiple stacks: Justin Herbert and Quentin Johnston, Cooper Kupp and Matthew Stafford. That is something I wanted to accomplish going into this, something I was very focused on after not doing that in the first draft. So very happy about that. And we're looking at getting Gerald Everett for this next pick. It should be likely, unless someone really wants Gerald Everett. He's down here. He's actually on the list now. So About 5 picks off his ADP. I will take that. Sitting good with receivers. We're sitting good with running backs. I would like to complete that stack as well. Maybe I'm too focused on the stack. Maybe not. We'll see. Rashee Rice is interesting just because he's on Kansas City. I don't know if there's any actual value there. I think the move is Gerald Everett here. Van Jefferson, another stack with Stafford. I think it would be better to take Gerald Everett, though, because our next pick is not until 164. So, Gerald Everett, feeling that one. Because what you can do later, actually, someone that's getting a lot of training camp hype is Puka Nakua. Puka Nakua? Not sure yet. He's so new. 5th round rookie. Playing for the Los Angeles Rams. Getting a lot of hype from Matt Stafford. A lot of hype from beat reporters. Puka will be a target for us late in this draft. So, that would be one of our receivers. We kind of want to look at getting as many running backs and receivers after this as we possibly can, unless a crazy value at QB or tight end falls to us. Then we would certainly take one, but you're feeling very good right now about Justin Herbert and Mark Andrews holding down most of your weeks. It's not likely if you take another one that they would, cede a bunch of weeks to their backups, Gerald Everett and Stafford. It would really just be on the buys or just really bad weeks. I'm not assuming injury. Otherwise, there's not really a point in doing this. Like, assuming you've already lost, just assume you've won, and the best case scenario is happening. So that's kind of how I'm approaching this. How much farther? We said 164. What's an ADP we're looking at here? Marvin Mims, Donovan Peoples-Jones. Kyler Murray is back here. There's a lot of conflicting things on if when Kyler Murray's coming back, if he's coming back at all, if it's going to be halfway through the season, or they just hold him out to get the top pick. Decent QB3. Like, if I waited longer than Herbert, waited really deep, and just wanted 3 QBs, Kyler Murray would be a really good third QB for a team that doesn't have a stud like Herbert on the squad. So something I've been thinking about, something I'll experiment with as I move farther back in the draft to get QB. So we got Adam Thielen, Marvin Mims, Donovan Peoples-Jones, Tyquan Thornton. What QBs we got? Is there any stacks available? It doesn't look like it. So, what I think we want to do, we want to go big time upside. And I think that would be Donovan Peoples-Jones. Deshaun Watson of Will Fuller past had that deep threat guy. Donovan Peoples-Jones has taken many a touchdown to the house from very far away. And that's the name of the game. You can't predict this in a lineup league. In best ball, they just give you the Donovan Peoples-Jones spike weeks. So this is the kind of guy you want. Darnell Mooney, Donovan Peoples-Jones, people like that. Once you've got Cooper Kupp, Ayuk set, you go for people that you never know when they're going to pop off, but they do pop off at some point. And best ball will figure the rest out for you. So that's what we're going to do there. The other one I'm thinking of is Marvin Mims. The problem is he's a rookie. I don't want to put too many rookies on here. We got a couple. I didn't want to load us up like that. Marvin Mims, first pick of Sean Payton's time in Denver. So that's kind of why I'm drawn to him a little bit. This guy has a plan for Marvin Mims if he can get on the field. Now, what are we looking at here? Deontay Foreman, Gainwell, Mostert, Zeke. Zeke is your running back 5. I'm kind of drawn to that. I'm kind of drawn to Zeke because he's going to find a team. He's going to find a team, take over goal line work. He's going to have a role with somebody. And getting Zeke in the 15th round, it will take. He's older. I get it. Cowboys didn't want him. Cowboys might bring him back. It doesn't even matter where. It doesn't matter where. He's gonna pick and choose the place he wants to go. And Zeke is gonna be good. in the role he has, a short yardage goal line guy. He can figure it out from there. He's not like Leonard Fournette. Zeke, we're taking Zeke here to be our running back 5. I will happily do that. I believe in in the upside that Zeke has left, especially as your 5th running back. I will take that 100%. What's our next pick looking like? We're getting close to the end, really. 5, 6. What's our next pick? Up for 188. Okay. 188. Jeff Wilson wouldn't be a bad pick, really. Yeah, I would take Jeff Wilson, honestly. Jeff Wilson fits that Miami squad really well. I don't think his role is affected by Devon A-Chain, and he really just has to beat out Raheem Mostert, and then we just assume Dalvin Cook doesn't go there. Maybe the Jets pick him up, steal him from Miami. It's all conjecture and stuff like that. I'm trying to think, is there anyone in here that's like an upside QB? Upside QB, upside tight end. Your upside tight end is Isaiah Likely. You can back yourself up with Mark Andrews, because Isaiah Likely, if Andrews misses time, you get and Isaiah Likely gets to be the starter, he definitely can. He can put up crazy numbers. He could be top 10 tight end. But Isaiah Likely's going, oh, it'd be next pick. It'd be next pick. Curtis Samuel, Hodgins, Shakir. I think we wanted Jeff. Got old Jeff here. Slot receiver for the Bills versus shady running back for the Dolphins. You got any other running backs that we'd like? Pierre Strong would be pretty good. Pierre Strong back there. They took Curtis Samuel. I think what we want to do is take Lil Shakir and believe in the Bills offense. I think that's what we want to do. Because when they had Cole Beasley was productive in the slot with Josh Allen. So let's take Khalil Shakir. Imagine a world where Khalil Shakir does well in training camp. Everybody was freaking out for Isaiah McKenzie last year. It's like, ooh, it's the Cole Beasley role. Let's all make this guy a sleeper. I don't know why we can't do that for Khalil Shakir. Dan McKenzie just had a couple games where he dropped easy touchdowns, lost some faith, got hurt. It was a bad season for a guy who was supposed to take that role and had a lot of opportunity. Would have had more if he took advantage of it. Maybe Khalil Shakir can take advantage of it. He's a bigger guy than Isaiah McKenzie as well. Maybe that extra size can benefit him here. CJ Stroud goes off the board. Our next pick is number 197. So we can take Pierre Strong. Pierre Strong getting a little buzz. Pierre Strong's getting some buzz. Now we pretty much need to decide between Pierre Strong and Isaiah Likely. And so let's look at who we got. Let's evaluate the running backs. You got a guy attached to a rookie QB. You got a guy in some legal trouble. A rookie entering an ambiguous backfield. We have an early down plotter. We have a guy who doesn't have a job. So I think the priority over Isaiah Likely would be the guy in a backfield that has added Bill O'Brien on a team that is known for kind of screwing you over with running backs. So the most people that would be screwed over is the Ramondre Stevenson team by having Pierre Strong take over pass catching work, a la James White of the past. So I think what we do is take Pierre Strong. Maybe Isaiah Likely drops and we can pick him up later. But Pierre Strong is good for our team. And see, could he increase role? He could. So let's take Pierre Strong. Add him to the squad. We have a 2-6-7-2 format. Now, our next pick may be our last pick. It'll be our last pick, 212. This is we're pretty much up for grabs at this point. Anybody with like crazy upside, anybody with a glimmer of hope to be a quality player is in play here. That goes for Isaiah Likely. That could be Cole Hardman. You never know when he takes one. Terrace Marshall, sure. The revival of Terrace Marshall. Kareem Hunt off the board. Puka. Puka might be the last pick. If Isaiah Likely doesn't get to us, take Puka. For the little Matt Stafford Puka stack. That's what we're looking at. Put Puka in the queue. Put Isaiah Likely in the queue. And I move you above. They took Puka. We've talked about Puka too much. Dang it. We talked about Puka too much. You can't say your guys so much. That's the problem with making a YouTube video is you kind of have to talk about who you want. So that erases the curse of speaking it into existence for other people to hear you through the internet. Likely Darius Slayton. You never know. There's going to be a 3-week stretch where Darius Slayton is like, is this guy good? And then he goes back to just doing nothing. Again, Hardman, I've seen it. Got the Chiefs in the back. Hardman will randomly have one of those days where he just pops off. Gives you 3 rushing touchdowns. He gives 3 rushing touchdowns. Of all people to give you 3 rushing touchdowns. So you never know. Never know with these guys. But we'll just see what we get. We're coming up. Wandale off the board. Michael Mayer. A lot of tight ends. People got tight ends on the brain. Who else? Clyde. Deuce Vaughn off the board. Hank Dell. Rick James. Abanikanda. He'd be decent if Cook doesn't go to the Jets, and Breece Hall needs a breather. Very athletic running back, Izzy Abanikanda. Justin Ross, the myth of Justin Ross. The all-powerful. There goes Slayton. Chase Claypool, we're up. Isaiah Likely is our guy. There you go. The Lamar team is furious if they didn't already waste their pick not taking Likely. Yeah, that's our squad. That's the end of the draft. So, let's look at this real quick. Justin Herbert, Matt Stafford. Quality guys who are going to be throwing a lot. Herbert gets Kellen Moore away from Dallas. Very good offense with Kellen Moore. Justin Herbert needed that. He's pretty much setting league records for how short he throws the football. You can extend that. That's more plays that can pick up big chunks, can have big spike weeks. You like that for Justin Herbert. JT, coming off an injury where he was the 101 last year, you're seeing kind of a discount. You're seeing the discount from people pushing receivers up the board. So he was able to get to us a few spots later in the second round. Alvin Kamara. We laid out the risks of all these running backs and why we took all the different ones where they can kind of overlap in the season with each other and pick up for each other. You only need to start 2. As long as 2 of them are playing and putting up numbers, we got 2. Receiver, Kupp, Ayuk, Burks, they're all going to be playing. They're all going to be playing big roles in their offense. That's what you want as a base. QJ, these other 3 guys are buying time for him to develop and get an opportunity in this offense that we like with Kellen Moore. So that's a possible guy who develops later on in championship weeks when we need him. Darnell Mooney, Peoples-Jones, kind of the same guy. Hope for a big bomb touchdown when people have a bad week and they kind of fill in for him. Shakir, that's purely from the role he could play. Slot role for Josh Allen is a productive role. We get Mark Andrews early. This is the exact opposite of our first team where we went late tight end. Now we have early tight end. We can see how that does. Followed by a stack with Herbert's tight end and Isaiah Likely. Just because Mark Andrews made me think of Isaiah Likely. That's literally the only thing. It's the very last pick of the whole draft. That's the only reason I picked him, was because, I have Mark Andrews. I remembered who Isaiah Likely is. So there's the analysis there. I think this team is better than the first one I drafted, honestly. It kind of followed more principles of things I hear people talk about for best ball and how you win best ball. So I might do another review of this later. I think it's at least a 7. I think it's an 8. Running backs are a little weak because of the uncertainty with them, so it can definitely improve. I'll give it a 7. It's better than the other one, which I gave a 6. I think this team is a 7. Let me know what you think, though. If there's just a player I'm completely overlooking, let me know on that so that I'm going to have a lot of teams. I'd like to have good players on the teams. So let me know if I'm just completely overlooking a player, or if you like one of these players and think I should just draft him more, draft him every time. I'll take that. But if you made it this far, thanks for watching. I appreciate you. I'll see you in another video, another stream. But thanks for watching and have a good day, people.